After the cleaning and restoration, the statue can be presented for all of us to see. You can see the long hair of this human figurine. He has turned his head towards the right-hand side. For the first time, from this statue, you can see the face of an ordinary people working in the ancient times. It has attracted the attention of Madame He. In 2004, Lady He has moved to the city of Guanghan, and she has created this workshop. In the very beginning, she has considered everything inside this workshop as a means of living. However, the site of Sanxingdui is so attractive. Every day, she spent a lot of hours with all those artifacts, and she no longer felt so lonely. And she has developed this deep emotion with the site of Sanxingdui. Every day I live there in that kind of environment. So I started to wonder whether I could do something myself. The best way to have emotional connections with ancient people living in this ancient state of Chu is to create the artifacts as the people have already done in ancient times, with the carving knives to make the shape of those delicate objects. During that stage of wax shaking, if the movement has been too violent, then there would be a lot of bubbles in this material. And when there's the knife carving through, sometimes it will collapse. With thousands of degrees of temperature, then this wax would be shaped. After thousands of times experiments, Madame He had succeeded with the making. The blue color, actually, it's not the real color of bronze, but it's the kind of symbol of the traces of time. This is the original color of the bronze. The original color is the golden color. Every day in the workshop of Madame He, you can find children from different corners of the country. This is the metal detector. What can we use it to find? Actually, we can use the detector to help us find the metals. Is it one piece or is it just a fragment? You have to note it down. Children came here to learn and to visit the site. And for the first time, they get in touch with the ancient civilizations. They can touch and they can make their own objects. This ancient civilization can be passed down from generation to another generation in this way. For daily maintenance of the Sanxingdui Museum, we will close it off for one day. Today we live in a digital era, so we can try to promote this culture online. We talk about the local opera of Sichuan. We also share with people many beautiful sceneries and also the culture elements. They're this creator of cultural products based on the culture of the site Sanxingdui. We would like to make it into digital forms so we can go beyond the border limits and we can share the culture with more people. Beyond the limits of physical objects, today we can share the culture of Sanxingdui with more people. We have also created ice creams in the shape of the bronzeware of Sanxingdui. And thanks to the efforts of those cultural creators, today we have embedded into the souvenirs more charms of the culture of civilization of Sanxingdui. Behind the success of the cultural products based on Sanxingdui culture, there are a lot of people working hard. If you want to describe the career of Madame Wang, then she's connecting the people of today to the people of ancient times. Madame Wang will make full use of the existing beauty, and then she will develop the IP image. And later, Madame Wang will also work with the other cultural promoters. The franchising of the IP is a very good way to transfer the discoveries of the archaeological site to more kinds of products. The two people have developed a kind of Lego product showcasing the whole side of archaeological excavation. They are working together in order to get all those findings and images more valuable. 3,000 years ago, here there has been a splendid era, and 3,000 years later, civilization continues in different shapes. The younger generation, they will continue to safeguard the tradition while injecting new essence. The ancient civilization has become incorporated into the modern times. We can enjoy the present, and also we can enjoy the past civilization. Everyone can be an ambassador of this ancient culture. Dear viewers of CCTV and CGTN, welcome back. I'm now at the excavation pit to give you this latest update about pit number 7 and number 8. By my side, we have Mr. Ren Junfeng, an expert for the restoration of the cultural relics. Nice to see you all. We noticed that this time we do at the same time the protection of the cultural relics and also the archaeological excavation. So we give both parts of the work equal attention. And this is the digital interaction platform. We are now in a virtual site. This is the pit number 3. Why is that? Why do you want to start with the pit number 3? Because inside there's one interesting part, and I've also participated in the excavation. This is the giant mask of bronze. Actually, that is the scanned image collected last year. Before the 23rd of June last year, You have witnessed the excavation and lifting up of this mask. Yes, that is a huge pleasure and honor of mine. And I've traveled together with this giant bronze mask to the gala of the Spring Festival. So between the discovery date and also the demonstration to the public, it's been a period of 6 months, and you have made full use of that half-a-year period to clean the mask. So this is a picture taken just after the excavation, before the cleaning. On the right-hand side of the face mask, you can see some remainings of the soil, especially by that part of the right eye. We have collected not only the attached bronzeware in very small size, but also some pieces of the silk. I don't know whether I can show you more details about this mask. For example, here, if my memory is correct, then it's a bronze leaf. So I can draw the shape for you. It's a piece of bronze leaf. You can even see the whole lines of the structure of that leaf and also some different colors, because there's the rust attached to the surface of the mask. Around this eye area, you can also see some small remainings of the fabric of the silk. You can see the lines, especially in this area, the blackened area. You cannot see the details, but with a high resolution microscope, maybe with the picture maximized by 200 times, you can see more details. This is the back of the facial mask. It's my favorite part. This is also a very special angle. As is mentioned before, it has been demonstrated during the gala for the Spring Festival, but people have only witnessed the frontal part. But for the back part, it's more interesting. And before the demonstration to public during the gala, actually we have cleaned up the whole frontal part of the facial mask in order to give people the real image. And why is it more interesting to see the back? We know usually that we will demonstrate the face, the frontal face of this mask to the people. This is like the official announcement, but towards its back, there are 7 components: 2 eyes, 2 ears separately, 2 cheeks, and also the whole face. In total, we say there are 7 components. They are matched together, they are put together. So for the original making of this facial mask, all those 7 components of the facial mask have been manufactured separately, and later on they have been made together, they have been put together to realize the assembling. And a lot of artifacts have been made in this way. For example, we can move to another pit, another statue, for example, in quite large size. It's also made in this way. First of all, we manufacture the different separate parts. You can also see it here on the screen. What we can see now, there are 2 major parts. There's a figurine here, the human figurine, and there's another vessel on the top. Actually, there are also attached objects, like the dragon. There's a dragon and a tiger, alternatively. From the side of Sanxingdui, we have unearthed a lot of figurines in the shape of the animals. For example, in the pit number 8. We will get to there later. And about this one, last year in March, after the discovery of this object, we had a lot of problems in calling this object. We have used this name, bizarre, to name it, because we don't know how to name it. And it really looked bizarre. Maybe we can move closer to see more details about this one. As you can see, there are a lot of figurines of the oak ox and the dragon. And you can see that the dragon has stepped on the feet of the ox. And we say sometimes these people from the ancient civilization of Shu, they are so crazy in the imagination. And even for us, the normal, ordinary modern people, it's hard for us to have that crazy ideas of imagination. We have discovered 3 figurines like that, but one has been detached. Until now, it's still missing. And between different pits, you can see sometimes we can put one finding from one specific archaeological excavation pit to get matched with another artifact from another pit. So for that missing part, I'm sure one day we can unearth that part, and we can also decode all the secrets. There are 2 virtual salons of exhibition, one for the discoveries of 1986, another for the year 2021. This is pit number 3. This is number 4. Just now we have visited pit number 3, and this is pit number 4. Immediately after the discovery and some excavation, we have closed this pit. We have discovered a certain number of the ivory tusks, and your team has overcome lots of difficulties in order to get the elephant tusk out. We say it's as soft as the boiled noodles. Usually the noodles can get different degree of softness with different duration of boiling water, and we say that these elephant tusks, they are so soft, they feel like noodles boiled for more than 10 minutes. You can also tell from the color of those elephant tusks that they are heavily burnt. And another artifact. So that statue with the turning head we have mentioned before. Last year by May, we have already talked about this statue, because now we are doing this live streaming program just by the side of the excavation. So I still remember that day when we discovered that statue. It was Mr. Lei by my side, and he has been so surprised by the statue, because the first time for us to unearth a statue that has followed the real description of a humankind. We have received some reports, and later on we start our cleaning work. We start to detach the soil from the surface of the statue. From the picture, it looked quite dark in color, and that picture has been collected before the cleaning. I still remember that in the early days of the cleaning, I was even reluctant to give that one back after the cleaning, and my colleagues, they hurried up to urge me to give this back. And for the statue, we have 3 of them. We have 3 copies. I really love the lines of the muscle of the statue. You can even see the toes, and also the muscles on the legs. And you can see that tension of the body muscles, and you can feel the strength with the feet. You can see the side profiles, the back, and also the frontal part. And you can see that they are squatting down, and it feels like their toes are making an effort to seize the ground. How do you feel that this time you can join the excavation? You know that one previous major excavation took place in 1986, But by then, I was too young to join the mission. So this time, I got the opportunity to join the archaeological excavation. I'm so excited, but at the same time, I can also feel the heavy responsibility on my shoulder. I would like to devote the rest of my life into the restoration of these artifacts, those archaeological discoveries. And you were there during the unearthing of these artifacts. So literally, you can say that you are the first person that this artifact has met with after its unearthing. So how was your feeling back then? I think it's worth it. When we lift it slowly, bit by bit, out from the pit, you can still find that imprint left behind by this artifact. So that has been left after 3,000 years of buried status of this artifact. And not only you, but also there are lots of colleagues and also members of your team. Everybody has been working so hard to form a synergy for the cleaning and restoration of the cultural relics, so that we can see all those beautiful artifacts today. Yes, because it's always teamwork. It's not the work of a single person. This is pit number 5. You can no longer see that on site because we have moved the whole pit into our laboratory for the lab-based archaeological studies. During the excavation of the pit number 5, you've been working very hard with other experts and team members. You have developed your own tools of excavation. Yes, because with the conventional tools, you cannot guarantee that all the objects can be unearthed in an intact manner. You have been doing the zoning work with the pit. The smaller one is part 1 and the bigger part is the part 2. You have moved both parts into your laboratory. Back then, you have used a lot of tools like the Luoyang shovel and also the handles removed from a window, maybe. Yes, those are daily objects turned into excavation tools. And also we use something like a giant spoon. So people were asking how they can get into the distal laboratory, distal museum. Later on, in about a quarter, we will show you the QR code. This is the pit number 7 and one of today's highlights. We will continue to keep a close eye on the archaeological excavation in pit number 7. We will expect new discoveries from this pit. For example, yesterday we have already discovered this bronze neck-like grid covering an oval jade. Hopefully, we can give you more details today about this artifact. And there are many more to share with you. And people were guessing whether they would be some letters, some inscriptions, because usually in ancient times people use the tortoise shell or things like that to encarve something on that and to write the letters down, write down some information. Hopefully we can read out some information from that. And today you can see the back side of this artifact. So dear viewers, just stay tuned with us, and later on definitely we will give you more interesting facts. And many people have also named this artifact, and some people call it the waffle, and some people call it the manhole cover, and some people think it's the cover of the cartoon figurines. So we are wondering what kind of people have invented this very cute and bizarre artifact. Still from this artifact, we can read some signs of daily life. If you go even closer, you can see the technique of making a bamboo artifact. We just transfer or we move that, or we have borrowed that technique of bamboo making, bamboo utensil making into the bronze making. So the artisans in ancient times, you can see how brilliant they are, how talented they are. And with the four corners, we can see with each corner there's one dragon. Already there are two dragons exposed to our eyes. What other details would you like to show to all of us about the pit number 7? There's also a stack of Jade artifact. Just now we have talked about that big size of bronze net-like grates covering the oval jade, and these are the smaller jade artifacts. You can see some decorative jade pieces and also other jade objects. This is one of the concentrated site of the jade pieces, some jade knife. After being buried for so many years, thousands of years, still they lie in array and there's no broken part of them. So we can try to read out more information. So from that orderly installation of all those jade pieces, you can see that they have been put there with human intention. And what is the explanation for that intention? What purposes are they used for? So we have to make further studies. What about pit number 8? Yesterday we have unearthed very important objects from pit number 8. Later on, you're about to unearth new objects from pit number 8. From this scanned image, you can still see the bronze altar, and that altar is no longer there in our site. It has been moved to our Museum of Restoration. This is the scanned picture. This part is the sacred animal. We can turn around. I really love this one. Looks like a dog. So for 1,000 people, 1,000 Sanxingdui explanation, I thought it looks like a dog, and my colleague said it looked like an elephant. There's also a standing statue of a human figurine on the head of the statue of sacred animal. So this one is a very small size of human figurine standing on top of the head of that sacred animal statue. And this statue of sacred animal looks very much alike that one standing on the bronze altar. And I'm looking forward to seeing the other side, the other half of that statue of sacred animals. Maybe you can use the rule of symmetry, but because we know that the people from ancient China 3,000 years ago, they had so many crazy ideas. So why not some crazy ideas to the other half of that statue of sacred animals? And still in this pit number 8, a lot more statues of animals. This one looks like the snake or the dragon. Previously, some people said it looked like the crocodile. Even 3,000 years ago, we already had crocodiles. This one looked like the tiger or the dragon. Talking about the creativity of people in ancient Sanxingdui, sometimes you can see that they are picturing according to the real image, and sometimes in the creation they can add up some imaginary elements. For example, for the whole statue, you can find part of the dragon, part of the tiger, part of the deer, for example, with the horns. There's a message. Because with more and more discoveries coming, now I have more things to remember to recite for my history lessons. And some other people, they are talking about that statue wearing a skirt. Very soon we're about to unearth that statue. You can see the body shape. Looking at the body shape of the statue, it seems like someone who has visited the gym every day, and there's the heavy energy devoted into the workout. You can also see more details with the hairstyle and also the skirt. It's quite modern. And also the belt, interestingly made. How does it look like? What about its face? Later on, I'm about to unveil all that, and I'm also eager to know all the details. Yesterday, we have also unearthed and lifted another vessel. For example, to the corner of the northwest. It's broken in a pit. From the body part to the base. Because it's broken, we have lifted the fragments in 2 different rounds. We have also used the 3D printing to add an extra piece of coating. Some messages coming from our platform, very interesting objects, and it looks like a parallel world. Until now, we have already collected some more data. For example, all those artifacts. We have unearthed more than 3,000 pieces in complete structure, and in total, with all the pieces, it's more than 13,000, dating back to 3,200 years and 3,000 years. And you have worked so hard in order to get all those findings out from the pit. While solving all those problems, we are also gaining more knowledge about the civilization of Sanxingdui and also the artifacts. In the beginning, we said that the more we unearth, the more secrets we have to decode, but we are convinced that one day we can find an answer to all the questions. And it looks like a starry night, and all the secrets behind the mask, the statues, the figurines are like the stars in the sky. There are so many, and they are so brilliant for us to discover. What about the real world discovery? Just now, we've been spending all those minutes to talk about the discoveries yesterday and also in the previous discoveries. For the dear viewers, you can stay tuned and scan our QR code anytime as you want. You can go into our virtual museum. Now I have to let Mr. Ren go, and he will take some time to get himself dressed in the protective gown, and he's about to get himself prepared for the work of archaeological excavation. So see you later. We look at the glamour and charm of the site of Sanxingdui. Once again, we're about to embark on the road of archaeological excavation of the site of Sanxingdui. Welcome to our special program about new discoveries at Sanxingdui. By the river of Yazidui, every time with new findings of archaeological excavation, we can find more clues to the ancient civilization, especially in the area of upstream of Yangtze River. Until now, we have unearthed more than 13,000 pieces from the site of Sanxingdui. We have moved all those discovered and unearthed project artifacts to the laboratory for further studies. And now, in the Sacrificial pits, what kind of new artifacts are there for us to discover and unearth? I'd like to give the floor to my colleague, He Yanke. Okay, the site has been there for more than 3,000 years, and we are now to discover more secrets. Yesterday, we have discovered some new artifacts. For example, the bronze net-like great oval covering the oval jade, and also from the pit number 8, we have discovered a human figurine with a serpentine body. The biggest charm with the site of Sanxingdui and what has made the site special and different from the other site of archaeological excavation is that with the findings of archaeological excavation from Sanxingdui, we can find the clues to an unknown civilization. Everyone's so curious about the site and the civilization of Sanxingdui. What new discoveries can we make today? Let's stay tuned to the special program. Today we have two experts with us to help us unveil the secret. First of all, Mr. Lei, and team member of the excavation discoveries, Mr. Zhao. Yesterday, you two have given us a lot of explanations at the Museum of Restoration. And Mr. Lei, could you please share with us your feeling about the recent discoveries? I find that there are the more and more surprises waiting for us. Every time, it's like we are in front of a whole meal of excellent dishes for us to have a further taste. So you are working on the front line. We have more direct feelings on the site, and hopefully we can share in a timely manner the new discoveries and findings to the people of our country. And sincerely, we also hope that we can have new discoveries to share with you today. And CMG has also prepared a large scale of the digital platform for you to have interaction with that digital space. I believe some of you have already tried it out. You can come to our tent and our rooms of the archaeological excavations. You can also go into the museum to have a very close distance interaction with the artifacts. You can also have a personal experience of the ancient Shu civilization. For example, the daily life of the Shu people. You can scan the QR code, and you also have to pass the quiz. Some people have complained about the quiz. They say it's too difficult, those questions listed in the quiz. I agree with you. However, you have to overcome all those challenges and obstacles in order to have that chance to have close contact with the artifacts. So these are the questions for today's quiz. So what are these? Those are all challenging questions, but you can always find answers in our program. What is that artifact on the top of the bronze human figurine discovered in the pit number 3? And the second question, what are the major sacrificial and ritual artifacts for the Sanxingdui site? And number 3, the question, for the seashells, in what kind of environment are they buried in the site of Sanxingdui? And 4th, which objects is not discovered in the pit number 7? Well, in order to get into our digital platform, you have to get right answers to all those questions. Now we're about to bring you inside the pit number 7 and 8 to show you what kind of new discoveries and new surprises can we share with all of you. This is pit number 8. We will visit the pit number 8 first. Our personnel, they are lying down on their belly on this platform, and they are tying something up. What is that? We are working towards the north line, north side of the pit number 8. That is the second largest human figurine in the Sanxingdui site. The first one we have discovered, it's already demonstrated in the Sanxingdui Museum. And this one has some differences. First of all, about the clothing. This one has put on a decorative a decorative coat on the shoulder and also a very short skirt. According to the researches made yesterday, this one has light on its belly too, so nobody knows how this one looks like. Maybe we can find some similarities from this one and the other unearthed one. Maybe they have extruded eyes as the previous statues, and also extruded teeth. So we can already partly see that statue previously mentioned during the discovery. And for this one, because it's really lying on its belly, we cannot see its face before the total lifting up, and we can make a guess that it also have extruded eyes and teeth. But before the final unearthing, we cannot say it for sure. Yesterday, with the discovery of that altar, we have also discovered some seated human figurines. They have the similar facial expressions as the previous discoveries. So we believe that this one can also give the similar face. And for that part of the extruded eyes or extruded teeth, we believe that they are not the real body parts, but they are the parts of the facial masks that these people are wearing. So maybe they are wearing this kind of masks with extruded eyes and teeth only for the sacrificial purposes. In last November, we have noticed the exposed part of the angle of that statue, and we have gradually cleaned away all the soil covering the statue. We have also unearthed the other bronze wares and the smaller parts of the artifacts away from the main body, the main part of the statue, and we have made sure that there's no other artifacts buried under the statue. This will secure the lifting up and unearthing of this artifact today. And this one has put on a short skirt. Today, there are lots of secrets to unveil from the side of Sanxingdui. People are wearing the statues, the human figurines. They are wearing different styles of clothes. People have already expressed different explanations and opinions, but still there is no final say about all those clothes. And I've also noticed they have very strong legs. And sometimes they are squatting in the position For those human figurines, they are not standing alone, they are standing on the stairs or standing on the basement. This is another statue. Towards the eastern part of the pit number 8, there is the statue with the body of the dragon and the head of the tiger. For example, that tiger head with the with the horns of the dragon. And you can also see the U-shaped body. It's the body of the dragon. And for the two claws of the dragon, they are seizing the basement. The basement is not a single structure. In the frontal part of it, you can find a very cute bird. And for that statue with the body of the dragon and also the head of the tiger, you have found similar patterns in other areas. Yes, we have discovered from a tomb of the Henan province. Ancient people have used the shells to make the image of the dragon on one side and on the other side image of the tiger. So we usually put the image of tiger and the dragon together. In southern part of China, and especially towards the upstream of the Yangtze River, people apply this dual image very often, the tiger and the dragon. But this time, it's kind of combination of the two animals into one statue, the body of the dragon and the head of the tiger. We also have a lot of traditional sayings about the spirit and courage and energy power of the two animals. So they can also be a symbol or a proof to the Chinese civilization. And we can also see the process of development of pit number 8 from the very beginning, right from the first day of the archaeological excavation. The picture that has been taken in April last year, some burnt soil, and then in August and July last year, we come to the layers of the elephant tusks. And by mid-August last year, a full layer of elephant tusks, more than 390 pieces of elephant tusks. The pit number 8 has the largest number of discoveries for the elephant tusks, and almost all the elephant tusks have been put in this layer above the layer of bronze artifacts. And by April this year, after lifting all that layer of elephant tusks, we can expose the whole layer of bronzeware. And today, that picture should be modified because we have already unearthed and lifted away some of the bronzewares from the pit number 8. I believe that some of the friends watching our program, they really would like to see how life was for ordinary people living in ancient Shu Kingdom. So together we'd like to show you a digital adventure. So together, let's kick off this journey to the ancient days of the Shu Kingdom. Now, here we are in a world 3,000 years ago. That is a wonderful representation made by our digital team. They have studied so many conclusions by our archaeologists. This is the river. Over there is the port. By the river and by the port, you can tell that people have already made full use of the water, and they have developed some ditches. In the site of Sanxingdui, you have also discovered some water gates and also the channels to guide the water. From the side of Sanxingdui, there must have been a lot of ancient channels of water reintroduction. There are also bamboo boats for the riverborne transportation. With the rafts and also even bigger sizes of the boats, people have already started their journeys based on the water. Over there, it's a platform of the land. This is the Qingguanshan platform by the Yazidui River. This is also the base for the royal palaces. From 2013 to 2015, we have unearthed a very large rectangular shaped base for the building. This is the biggest building site we have discovered from Sanxingdui. And apart from some caves, we have also discovered some remainings of the elephant tusks and also the bronzeware. So we believe that it has been used as a high-level sacrificial site. And also there are other explanations, for example, used as a warehouse or used as a palace. For this kind of site, represented as a palace now, how people can restore to such a status. You can see a lot of columns. We are not building this palace directly on the soil, on the surface of the ground, because in southern part of China, usually it's very wet. We have to lift the house a little bit up away from the land, from the surface of the ground, and we use the columns to support the whole house. Because there are remainings of this building in the site, we can read out some information, and we can also study its constructing features according to the size of the walls, according to the layout of all the columns. Experts can restore the whole building back to its original. We are not sure until today what purposes are there behind this site. There are several stories. There are also stairs. From time to time, we can find a small space with more intensity of the columns, so we believe that is the room for the stairways. And one information for you, in the excavation site, we know that there are already 8 pits for the archaeological excavation. They are the so-called sacrificial pits. And we have also discovered this huge size of the building. What is the relationship between this whole building and also the 8 pits for the sacrificial purposes? We have to continue with our studies. But still, we are very thankful because we have the digital technology to build up the virtual space for us to have experience of the ancient times. Now we turn back to the pit number 8. People are still working very hard to unearth the statue. So it's already tied up, and we start to use the crane to lift it up. So what would be the face? Above the pit, we will turn it around so that we can see the hands and also the face of the statue. Something interesting about the statue, because we have used the endoscope. Previously, we discovered that in the hands of the statue, there's something inside. The statue is holding something. We find something soft in the hands. We can see some part of the face now. So it's covered by the hands of our colleagues there. So we will give it a few more minutes. We will be very patient. This is a very heavy artifact. Inside the statue, there's also a huge quantity of the soil. Until this phase, we will not move the soil directly from the inside of the statue. And you can see some remainings of the elephant tusks. Later on, we will clean all this up to see whether there is some missing part detached from the main body of the statue. So there you go. We have prepared the container to carry the statue. But before moving the statue into the container, we have to turn it around. Because this statue is now in a lying position, we cannot directly put it in that position into the container. The right hand is broken. Later on, we can restore it back to normal, back to the original status, so no worry. So we are really eager to see the real face of this one, but we have to remain very patient. This is the head part of the statue. And it's wearing a vest with no sleeves. And you can also see some patterns on the shoulder and on the arms as kind of way to demonstrate, to showcase the muscle. It's very hard to tell the gender of the statue. It's a man or it's a lady because most of the statues, they are wearing a mask. This is the horizontal move. And as it's mentioned before, this statue is holding something in the arm. It's actually a belt in bronze. They can make very soft and thin pieces of bronze. Maybe they have added some other chemical elements inside. So this is a thumb up, holding something. Is it something held in the hands, or it's something tied to the wrist, for example, or to the hands? First of all, we have to untie the statue. What about this face? I think that belt in bronze held by the statue has got all my attention. So this is a thumb up gesture. Does it mean that the statue is praising our discovery in the site of Sanxingdui? This is in a very good shape. So are the two hands separated or holding one another? Because, as is mentioned before, the right hand or the right arm is broken. So first of all, we can get the left hand out. That is the critical moment. We will turn the statue around. Well, you can see its face. It's not extruded eyes. So previously we have unearthed another statue with the same hairstyle but with the extruded eyes, but this time it's different. You can see a complete left hand and left arm, and that gesture and position of the left hand looks quite similar to one previous artifact we have discovered yesterday. For the artifact discovered yesterday, there's a piece of metal attached to the statue. This is a very soft piece of bronze, and it means this statue has something on the back to bear something or to carry something on the shoulder, on the back. So the statue has held this piece of very thin bronze strip. So many surprises for us all, and we can take this moment to go back to the restoration center to look back to the statue we have discovered yesterday. Yesterday during our program, we have only unearthed the first part of the statue. What about the second part? I'm about to give the floor to my colleague now. Okay, dear viewers, this is the Museum of Restoration. Until now, we have moved more than 13,000 artifacts to this pit, to this museum, and in recent 2 days, we have unearthed many more discoveries and artifacts from pit number 7 and number 8, and we have moved the majority of them to the site of restoration for the further restoration, repairing, and also the cleaning. You can still find the 2 separate parts of the statue unearthed yesterday, and after some further cleaning, we can gather more information. We have invited Mr. Li to give us more explanation about these 2 artifacts. How different are they compared to the very first moment of excavation? Now we have exposed the facial part of the statue. You can look at the shape of the head and also the shape of the hair. And it has the extruded eyes. Especially interesting part is with the teeth, and this one has the extruded teeth. You can also see the patterns on the clothes of the statue, a lot of new messages. This message can only be seen after the unearthing endeavor. And this one has also put the hands on one artifact. We have already put this artifact by the side. In the very beginning, we thought it was a vessel called Zun, but later we changed our idea. It must be a vessel called Lei. And that extruding part may be the lid, but we are not sure until now. Now you have new discoveries pouring into the museum. Previously, there were also other discoveries about the vessel Zun. For the vessel Zun, we have discovered many of them. And for this one, for the Central China Plain area, It's a very big size statue carrying the vessel Zun. Another artifact from the pit number 3 with a statue carrying a vessel Zun on the top of its head. And that vessel has a very wide opening. Now for the separate 2 parts, they will be further cleaned. And talking about the body, it's a serpentine body. Do you have discovered something new or any other details about this? We have noticed the belt. So we believe that for the second half, there must be something more to that part, but we have to wait until the end of the archaeological excavation to see if we can find other missing parts to make a match and to assemble together to form a bigger structure. You take charge of the pit number 7. You have also discovered a small artifact. Yes, it's here. It's a very small size of the vessel Zun carried by a human figurine. Previously in the pit number 2, number 3, and number 8, we have already unearthed some of them. Previously, for the artifacts discovered, the top parts were missing, but here you can see it very clearly on the top of these small vessels. There is a statue of a very small, cute bird. So this has helped us to gain more knowledge about this kind of figurines. And still, people are cleaning the statues, and my colleagues, they have asked a very good question: when could we put the 2 parts together? So this question would go to our expert here. Sorry to interrupt, sir. And could you please share with us the exact date when we can put the 2 parts together so we can see how they look like 3,000 years ago? First step, we have to clean away all the dust and soil. And for the basement, and also for the vessel lake, on the surface there is the rusting and also the erosion by the environment, right? Also look at the surface. You can find the red color. And that red color comes from the cinnabar, and we have to keep that cinnabar. What is the most challenging part? The upper part is very long, and the whole statue is very tall. For the broken part, you can see we have very thin pieces of the bronze. When they put together, we have to consider the consolidation of the whole structure. Now, this whole structure has been broken towards its lower part. After the archaeological excavation, we have proceeded with the preliminary matching. The right hand and the left hand can be put back to the main body. So from that clue, we can say it's relatively complete structure. When we have to do the further matching, we have to consider the whole body part of this artifact. Thank you very much for your explanation. This one is very mysterious and it's very big size. After the preparation, we can put it on the standing position. Whatever kind of artifact it will be, there are a lot of surprises for us to discover, and they can also give us more clues to know better about the ancient Shu culture. That is all for my side. Back to you. Thank you very much. And just now, in the Center and Museum for the Restoration, we have learned so much about the new findings. When we kick off the journey of the archaeological excavation, we have unearthed a lot of artifacts, and we have used this digital technology to present the statue to all of you. It has the total body length of 1.15 meters. The upper side is a vessel, and the down part, the lower part, is a statue kneeling down. And you can see that the statue has encircled hands. It seems like it's holding something. And for the facial part, big eyes, stretched lips. On the top of the head, it's a big vessel called zun. Although for the opening, for the mouth of the vessel is broken, but you can still find a lot of sculptures of the animals and also the dragon decoration. According to the experts, for the first time, we have this large size of bronzeware combining the human figurine and also the zun vessel. From side of Sanxingdui, we have found objects for the sacrificial ceremony. Now, I'd like to invite you back to the site of excavation, and we can continue to listen to our experts. Thank you, Chunyan. As you have mentioned, a lot of bronzeware discovered in the site of Sanxingdui are closely connected with the sacrificial ceremonies. We have not only discovered the ritual artifacts, but also the other kinds of objects like the vessels called zun, lei, and ding. All those vessels are used for daily life and also for the sacrificial ceremonies, for cooking, for serving wine, etc. Why people have attached such great importance to the vessels like these? The artifacts discovered today from Sanxingdui site are for sacrificial purposes. All those bronzewares, artifacts, they are related to the ceremonies, and they are for the rituals to honor the ancestors, the gods. And in this area of Central China Plains, they use the other vessels called zun and ding. And here in Sanxingdui, we use the zun and lei. This is the jade piece, the jade blade. Towards the eastern side of the pit number 7, this is a jade dagger, very well reserved. You can see the charm of the jade and some decorations on the surface. You can find very thin lines. This is not the only one piece of jade dagger discovered from the pit of Sanxingdui. This one is very well reserved. Dagger is a kind of arms. However, this dagger is made of jade, so it cannot be used as a weapon in a real fight. But we believe it's used for the sacrificial ceremony. Can we use it to cut the sacrificial meat, for example? We don't know. And still we can find the blade. There's also the QR code accompanying each piece of unearthed objects. For the date of excavation, basic information about the measurement, the size, the length, the width, etc. So each time when we unearth a new object, we will put a piece of QR code inside. You can see the blade of this jade dagger. and the shape is very complete in structure and is very well made. In pit number 7, we believe that previously in ancient times, people have intentionally put all these sacrificial objects together. There is another kind of jade pieces called zao. But which purposes could this jade piece serve? We don't know. Maybe for sacrificial ceremonies. From 1986, after the archaeological excavation with the pit number 1 and number 2, and last year we unearthed number 3 to 8, we are unearthing more and more secrets related to the ancient culture of Shu and also the spiritual world of the ancient Shu people. We are also exploring the mind of the people 3,000 years ago. So again, we'd like to go back to that ancient world 3,000 years ago. With this time travel to the days of 3,000 years ago, we're about to visit the Sichuan province, and Sanxingdui site is located at the then capital city of the Shu Kingdom. Ancient Shu people had their own understanding about the nature and universe. They have employed their own capacity of imagination. They have invested a lot of money and effort into the creation of the culture of the ancient Shu state. They have also fixated the bronzeware. The placements of these artifacts are to honor the ancestors and also the gods. You can find all the symbols of the universe, of the nature. They have created the sacred tree. Until now, we have discovered many separate parts of the sacred tree. We've been working very hard to restore the original picture and status of the sacred tree. And last year, we have also unearthed the jade art piece called the Cong. And we have found the patterns of the sacred tree. Maybe they are the design drawings for the sacred tree. And we have found a lot of patterns of decoration in the shape of the sun. Maybe the ancient Shu people have had the ceremonies to honor the sun. For example, these artifacts may be used as the symbol of the sun to receive the respect and honor of the ancient Shu people. And the ancient Shu people are very good at building things separately and then resemble all of them together. For example, this one, when our experts discovered them in the first place, they called it bizarre bronze because it's the first time for us to see such a bizarre looking one. And maybe this one can help us to decode a very big secret. The sun has covered the whole world and nurtured our human society. And at the site of Sanxingdui, the ancient Shu people are about to celebrate this ritual. And this is the master of the rituals. This statue is wearing the most fashionable clothes. And you can also find the gold pieces in the shape of the bird to show his status of the Great Highness. So this statue is holding something. But what is that? Someone said it must be a jade piece of Cong. Some other people say it's kind of a piece of elephant tusk. And we have also discovered a smaller human figurine. It's a statue of bronze bird. Is it possible for that master of the ritual to hold a similar object? For the sacrificial ceremony, there are so many secrets for us to unveil. We can follow the guides and clues of those unearthed artifacts, and like that, we can get closer to the secrets of the ancient Shu civilization. Dear viewers, you are watching a special program of new discoveries of the Sanxingdui site. When we kick off again the archaeological excavation with the site of Sanxingdui, we have unearthed more than 13,000 objects from the pit number 3 to number 8. Many objects, they have become popular the moment they are unearthed. And from the bizarre and interesting looking of those bizarre, many people would be amazed by the imagination of the artifacts. For example, this one, it's not very big in size, but it's very attractive. This is a sacred animal. 2 frontal legs are seizing the ground, and 2 hind legs are flying in the air. For the ear part and also for the hind leg parts, they are partly broken, but still this part has become very popular among the viewers. And people say that it's a kind of archaeological version of the robotic dog. Compared to the previous statue, another popular one is the trio set of the statue turning the head. This one has the flying long hair. When we look at the face of this statue, it's quite different from the previously discovered statue. It has no extruded eyes. And you can see that the hands are holding together, and people are guessing that there may be something held between the 2 hands. And you can also find tattoos on the body of the statue. It's the first artifact wearing the tattoo. And we're about to unearth a new bronzeware from the site of Sanxingdui. Okay, Chunyan. Yes, exactly. We're about to unearth a new object from the pit. Before the unearthing, we'd like to invite all of you to visit our digital platform, a trip of wonder to the site of Sanxingdui. You can come to the excavation site, or you can choose to go inside the museum for the exhibition or the museum for the restoration. In order to get into our digital platform, you have to scan the QR code, but also you have to get the correct answers to all the questions. If you are a big fan of the Sanxingdui culture, then you definitely would know the answer. What are the questions? According to the C14, to which period belongs the ritual ceremony of Sanxingdui? And the second question is, in the archaeological cultural relics park of Sanxingdui, we have discovered the basic size for the living of ancient Shu people dating back to how many years ago? And what is the diameter of the gold ball from the pit number 5? And question number 4 is, how many layers can we find with the clothing of the standing statue of the human figurine? Now we're about to go to the pit number 8 to see the unearthing of that statue mentioned by Chun Yan. Many times when we see the figurine, you can see bizarre looking face. Actually, it's not the real human face, but it's the face, the shape of the facial mask. This is the statue that looks very gentle. You can look at his jaw. This jaw is not very pointed. Previously, from the pit number 3, you can see the pointed jaws. And we call this one a true life portrait. A very realistic statue. Maybe it's a female statue, I'm not sure. For the previously discovered statue, you can find more masculine traits, but this one is more gentle, it's more elegant. Yes, previously we have found more man-like portraits and statues in the pit number 7, number 8. But this time, we have discovered the very first piece of a true life, a realistic portrait carrying the trait of a female. What about the black color part? It's not the original part of the statue, but it's the remainings from the burnt elephant tusks. To the other side of our screen, you can see a previously discovered statue. There are holes of the ears. It's the piercing in the ears. For Mr. Lei, the question goes to you. Do you believe that these are used for the sacrificial ceremony, or they are more likely the statues of ordinary people? Actually, I believe that all the figurines discovered here, they are related to the sacrificial ceremonies. They may not definitely be the statues of the priests, but according to our studies, according to their shape of head and their hairstyle, we have characterized those discoveries. Now we're about to get it out of the pit, and our workers have to lie down and raise it up. What about the body part? That is the problem with the whole site of Sanxingdui. For all those statues of the head, their body parts are missing. And before, we have mentioned that there is the combination of different separate parts. For those bronze wares, they can be combined with the wood. For example, you cannot see any other body parts of this statue. But there are piercing holes, even with the large size of the facial masks. You can find lots of piercings. So I believe that maybe they are attached to the wood. The combination of wood and bronze can be a very big feature of the site of Sanxingdui. So you can imagine that we ancient Shu people could have used some wood trunk to take the body part. We cannot exclude that possibility of using the whole piece of wood as the body, or a whole structure of the wood-based sculpture to be the body of that portrait. This is the head part of the portrait. We have to put it into the box for those portraits. Some of them are enclosed ones, some are partly open. In pit number 8, we have just unearthed that head part of the portrait. And what about pit number 7? We are ready to lift another piece of jade. We are very careful about the unearthing of the jade artifacts. Maybe they look grayish because they have been buried in the soil for so many years. But after the cleaning, they can be shiny and they can be really charming. For this artifact, you can see the blade, and it's a kind of chisel, but built in the material of the jade. Coming back to the statues, they are decorated with different hairstyles. For example, some have the hair tied, and some others have them pigtail. Some have the braids. So we believe that people have different kinds of hairstyle. They may be performing different duties. Some people, they are in charge of the sacrificial ceremonies. Some other people, they are for the civic affairs. Different hairstyles, they may be corresponding to different functions of the population. Just now, from the pit number 7, we have unearthed one jade chisel. If you still remember yesterday from this pit, we have unearthed that bronze net-like grid covering the oval jade. This whole grid is covering the oval jade, and we didn't have the chance to see the inner part of that piece, what we have on the surface of the oval jade. Could we find some inscriptions? So I'd like to give the floor to my colleague in the Restoration Museum. In recent 2 days, we have unearthed many more new pieces and findings from the archaeological excavation site. More pieces have been moved to this center for the preparation and cleaning. 2 experts working by my side, they are cleaning the piece. And in front of us is the very famous new finding, the bronze net-like grid covering the oval jade. What new discoveries have we made, sir? Today we have lifted all the parts of this artifact to our museum, and we believe that there's an opening. It can be open and closed. It must be so, otherwise how could we ever put the oval jade inside? You can also see the trims of it. This is also true life decoration. The technique is actually the technique used in the weaving of the bamboo, and this time this technique has been applied in the making of this bronzeware. Could we have more information about the inner parts, the oval jade? Not yet. We can only see the frontal part, and there are also the rusts. What are they? One interesting phenomenon here, for example, you can find very thin layers of the bronze. Whether these parts are closely connected to the whole main body of this artifact, we still have to wait and see. And just now, during the unearthing process of one statue, there is a very thin piece of bronze fabric discovered. In the pit, we have noticed that we find it's very resilient, even though it's made of bronze. But it's very resilient. We think that ancient people have added some more elements inside. So with this structure of the design, we guess that it has the function of bearing something. As is asked by our host, do we have any inscriptions on the surface of the oval jade? Something surprised us all. To this corner of the grid, after the unearthing, we have discovered a large surface of goldware. And because this gold piece has been largely covered in soil, we cannot tell until now whether it's a separate piece attached to the main body of this bronze by soil or it's originally there. And this piece of gold can give us a lot more surprises in the future. First of all, we have to accomplish the cleaning work and also make a judgment whether that piece of gold is an original composing part of the whole bronze. We will also stay tuned to see the further progress of your cleaning work. You have also applied a lot of equipment, and with the application of the microscope and other equipment, what new discoveries have you made? With the microscope, you can see a lot of remainings of the fabric, and there are black parts and red parts. With nude eyes, you can already find the traces of the fabrics, the woven fabrics. And on the surface of the oval jade, you can also find many remainings of the silk or fabrics. So until now, you can say that the remainings of the fabrics and silk, they are prevalent here with this piece of bronze. So from this whole piece, already we have multiple materials like the bronze, like the jade, and also the gold, as well as the fabric and silk. Hopefully, with the continuous effort of our experts, we can unveil the secret. Thank you very much. With our efforts in the excavation and unearthing, we are weakening the ancient civilization. Many people in the modern times, they are also injecting new vitality into this ancient culture. In the cities, the thoughts and actions of each individual will shape the image of the whole city. The charm of daily life of today is integrated with the charm of the ancient civilization. Ancient civilization of Shu, dating back to 3,000 years ago, they have become a part of our daily life. Every element is delivering the charm of the ancient civilization, and we are spreading that joy and charm to more people. From the site of Sanxingdui, we have unearthed a lot of statues with extruded eyes and big ears. In April 2021, in that statue, with a human figurine turning the head, we're about to change our understanding of the statues discovered in the site of Sanxingdui. After the cleaning, we can see the whole picture of the statue. The long hair is flying towards the sky. The statue is kneeling down and turning his head toward the right-hand side. You can see the true life sculpture of the face. And you can also see the profile of a working population from the Shu Kingdom. Immediately, this has caught the attention of Madam He Meiyang. In 2004, together with her uncle, Madam He has moved to Guanghan to set up this workshop of the bronze art of Sanxingdui. They have the workshop and also the burning cave. In the very beginning, she has considered everything in this art shop, this workshop, as a means of life. It's too heavy. I didn't like it much when I was young. But the Sanxingdui culture, it's so charming. With time passing by, along with all the artifacts placed on the shelves, the lady no longer felt so lonely, and she has developed emotional ties with the culture of Sanxingdui. I can feel the warmth carried by the culture because I was living in this environment. And gradually, I had this willingness to do it myself. The best way to get connected with ancient Shu people, to represent their culture in our own ways. For example, those statues, newly made. We use the solid knives to carve on the materials. During the process of the waving wax, if there are too many bubbles, sometimes you can find the empty places. And we will use the heat to consolidate the structure. After repeated experimentations, Madam He has succeeded the making, and blue color doesn't come from bronze. It's the color of the rust, traces of the time. For the newly made statues of bronze, they look like the gold. We call them the gold of good luck. When there's the rust on the surface of the bronze, it will give you the blue color. The original color is gold. Every week, in this workshop, you can expect to see children coming from different corners of the country. This is a detector of the metal. We can use it to detect metal. Is it a whole piece or a fragment? The children here, they are visiting the place and also experiencing the culture for the first time in their life, this civilization of ancient Shu Kingdom. They can touch the objects and also make their own objects. The ancient techniques of making things have been passed down from one generation to another. This is the Sanxingdui Museum. When we take one day off, today we are in an era of digital information. We can use the internet to spread information, to share with people our local opera, the good dishes. Just now we talked about the story of Madame He. Now we share with you the story of a promoter of the culture. We would like to develop the digital version of our artifacts, our cultural relics. In the real world, we have also discovered new cultural souvenirs and also the products based on the Sanxingdui culture. For example, this is the ice cream. You can see the Sanxingdui relics shaped ice cream, and also a lot more souvenirs based on the civilization of Sanxingdui. And the civilization of Sanxingdui has become a part of people's daily life. Apart from the efforts of the designers, there are also other colleagues working hard to make the dreams come true. To describe the career of Wang Tairui, to be the bridge between the artifacts of cultural relics and also the designers. She's the franchiser of the IP of Sanxingdui. Madam Wang Tairui is in charge of delivering the message concerning the culture and image of the cultural relics of Sanxingdui to the designers. And designers will develop more products on the basis of that information. It's a good channel to give more value to our cultural relics. In order to better demonstrate the new features of this new round of archaeological excavations, these two people have discovered a cultural product about this whole side of excavation. They have made the design, writing, and product development. Behind every souvenir of cultural products, you can find the source of inspiration. 3,000 years ago, in this site, people had witnessed a fast developing kingdom. And 3,000 years later, culture continues to grow in different scenarios, and young people, they are bringing new meanings and essence to the ancient civilization. Old civilizations have been combined with the modern world. We can enjoy the present and be thankful to the past. and also look forward to the future. Every individual that is serious in their own lives, they can be the ambassador to pass culture from one generation to the next.